There's a thin line between life and death. An SV Twiz film that shows the truth about what's going on in the hood.
Yeah, cousin, if you're gonna be able to help me out with this job, like I need this one real bad. Like I'm not trying.
You've seen the rest. Now it's time to see the best. Starring Vodka 1000 Proof and SV Twiz.
Real nice one, like
A hood drama that shows you the meaning of money, power, and respect. Torn apart.
Yo, you really doing your thing with that girl.
Like, what's up, nigga? I can't call it, bro. Hey, yo.
Hey yo, this SV Twiz, the hood blogger, man. You already know how I carry it. Shout out to everybody that's been rocking with the content. And today, we gonna get into Beanie Sigel, bro. Beans, me personally, my favorite rapper from the city of Philly. He carried it for years, and shout out to the figures and those before him. But you know, when Beans came on the scene, and after he got the machines behind him, he just took it to a whole nother level, bro. We all know Beans. For those of y'all that was early fans, we know that he rapped with major figures as far as starting off for the world to hear him. He been rapping out South Philly. You know, he been a man out there already. But when the world first heard him, you know, he was coming out on the Cosmic Kev Q DZ Johns, late 90s, you know, early 2000s, and they was on there smoking everything. It was like the figures, Beans, and then we can't forget Philly Most Wanted. Those mixtapes, them Johns, was on a whole nother level. But back then, you didn't really hear about rappers like that unless they already, you know, was already in the game, already made it. You know, it's not like people was able to put their own music out and monetize themselves. So it was kind of like, once you hear a rapper, you know, they was definitely taking off. You know what I'm saying? They definitely was going to take off after that. But, you know, long story short, just to speak, you know, on a situation, you know, when Beans came up, Beans was always known for having a short temper in his early years. You know, we heard about numerous altercations that he got in, you know, with other people from Philly, and also when he went to New York and other places like that. You know, he stood on the principles that he felt that he had to stand on. And he also, not only was he rapping Philly, you know, he was rapping South Philly. You know what I mean? And South Philly is, you know, it's a part of its own, where that, and I'm not saying that everybody from South Philly, you know, go crazy, but you know, majority people that's from South Philly, that's in them streets, you already know they just carry it a different way. You know, not to discredit no other parts of Philly, but you know, the P is a, you know, was always a bracket of its own. You know, nowadays it's hard to tell who, cause you know, everybody running around gun ho and stuff like that. But you know, back when I came up and before that, you had to have everything. You just couldn't be willing to go spend somebody's block. If you was from South Philly and you was in the middle of North or something like that, if you ain't had no gun on you and somebody disrespecting you, you had to be willing to punch them in their mouth. You know what I'm saying? You had to carry it just how you would on your own block, with or without a gun, no matter where you at. And you know, that's just what it was back then. But you know, Beans held the torch for Philly. And you know, he repped the P hard, like I said. So it was a lot of little minor altercations, but you know, one day it had got messy, because I remember, you know, of course it wasn't like no like Instagram or nothing back then. So a lot of times you hear things off of, throughout other people or whatever you want to, word of mouth back then. And I heard that, he had got in a situation where he had shot somebody allegedly outside of a club. And I heard that it was an altercation, and people was saying that Beans had to end up getting busy on somebody. But what's crazy is, from what you heard back then, a lot of times people's stories used to get mixed up, but the story was actually a lot accurate. So just to get into what happened that day, rapper Beanie Sigel was acquitted today. And this right here is, for those of y'all that don't know, he was tried twice for this same case. This is the first time he got tried and went to trial and ended up getting acquitted on September 26th. In Philadelphia, he shot and nearly killed a man 2 years ago on a crowded city street. The rapper, whose attempted murder trial began only a few weeks after his release from federal prison. Now, just to speak on that, that's what made it so crazy. Also, if y'all remember when Beans dropped that Public Enemy mixtape, he was just getting, he was talking about all of that. He was talking about the Fed case. He talked about the attempt murder and everything. Like, for those of y'all that know, y'all know. If y'all didn't check out, the Public Enemy mixtape, majority of his mixtape, even he got what they call them Jones, like intros, whatever, when people be talking in between the tracks and all of that. He got Jones on there where he talking about it, playing news clippings and everything. So not only was he dealing with it, he was rapping about it, and he was, Sieg ain't care back then, bro. Yeah, I mean, he really didn't care. He was mocking the whole situation and everything. Plus he had one of the top lawyers from Philly, which I believe is still around. Yeah, I mean, so Sieg was in his bag, but I know he had court a Fed case for some work in a burner or something like that. So it say, the rappers whose attempt murder trial began only a few weeks after his release from federal prison on an unrelated charge was cleared he was cleared by a jury of shooting Terrence Speller repeatedly during the dispute outside a strip club in 2003. A jury deadlocked on the charges in 2004. Yeah, so that's basically what happened in court. He spanked it in 2004, and then they retried him in 2005, and he spanks it again in trial. You know what I mean? So he was definitely that being able to beat a body twice, you know what I mean, in trial. And this was due to the guy, his statements was crazy. I think he gave several different statements, but let me finish getting into the facts before I misword anything. The 31-year-old rapper, whose real name is Dwight Grant, left federal prison last month after serving nearly a year on federal weapon charges that stemmed from a 2002 traffic stop in Philly. He faces another city trial for allegedly breaking a man's eye socket during a January 2003 argument. And with that, from what I heard was, I guess the guy was in the truck or something like that, and there was some type of altercation, I think, over a girl or something, and Sieg ended up punching him. Sieg was known for punching people in the face a lot back then. Speller testified that he first told police he was shot during the robbery, but a day later told family and police Sigel shot him. He said that he was initially afraid of telling the truth. I wanted to make sure I was going to be alright and my family was going to be alright, Speller testified. A jubilant Sigel, dressed in a shimmering brown suit, emerged from the courthouse with friends and family. His defense attorney and Dame Dash. Now, that right there shows you that with him being signed with The Rock and all that, and all of this happened, Dame was definitely there, because it said he left the court with his defense attorney and Dame. So Dame was there supporting the trial of Sheik. The Rockefeller Records co-founder who signed him to a record contract. He's just like my brother, Sigel said to Dash. If he was in my shoes, I'd be right there for him too. Defense attorney Perry praised the jury for viewing Speller's allegations in Silver Suit for what he said they were: an opportunity for a payday. We are disappointed with the outcome, the district attorney office said in a short statement after the verdict. We believe the evidence. So, you know, that's what happened right there. Basically, he spanked it twice. And, you know, the guy that said he did it, he had so many different statements. He switched it up. He originally said he was getting robbed and shot. But Beans ended up taking at the trial twice and got acquitted. You know, he spanked the John twice. And that's what happened with that. And the next Beans John I'm going to cover is, I'm going to cover what happened back then when he said, you know, he took the cops to war. So if y'all new to the channel, man, shout out to y'all. For those of y'all that's already part of the family, shout out to y'all. You already know how we carry it. SV Twiz, the hood blogger.